right, everybody, how is it going? This is John here, back to talk to y'all again about some of the trending articles in the crypto news space. Got an interesting lineup for you today, so let's hop into things. First up, good old Zilliqa putting out a little bit of news. I try to keep my eye on these guys. They've been doing some interesting stuff. They're definitely a crypto to keep an eye on. But yeah, I was real surprised to see everything. You can check out this article itself down in the description. So let's dig into it. So they just announced a official digital certification partnership with NextID. It's a Singapore-based digital identity management specialist. NextID's web-based certificate and collectible issuance service, NextCert-TM, will be utilized across the Zilliqa educational workshops in conjunction with institutions of higher learning, vocational courses, and upcoming marketing or fundraising campaigns. So basically, you're going to be able to issue digital certifications on the blockchain. These certifications for individuals' achievements or showing up for things will take the form of what they're calling attestations, which will be created by an issuer and granted to one or more recipients. So if you got a classroom full of people, bam, there you go. These attestations are encrypted and anchored to the blockchain. Together, these mechanisms provide proof of identity, ownership, and authorship, which is pretty useful for a myriad of different business use cases and academic. Get yourself a digital bachelor's degree, get yourself a digital certification, prove to your professor that you did go to that incredibly boring lecture on post-Roman religion in medieval Europe. Whew. And you definitely didn't fall asleep, but you were there. So this will enable issuers to routinely publish attestations in the form of these digital certificates. They can be produced in a batch at a reduced gas rate, so it makes it a pretty cost-effective option for people who are looking to migrate over to these digital certificates. They've actually already partnered with NextID in their social pay-based fundraiser for the Singapore Red Cross, so they're working over there. Their participants were able to nominate a COVID hero or heroine who would receive a customized certificate of appreciation secured and stored on the blockchain. Not really useful for anything other than they got to do a little bit of stuff and be like, look at what we did, woo! Like, that's really all it is. It's cool that they're doing it. And this is definitely some interesting practical applications that they're going to be able to bring to their crypto and their blockchain. I love it. Just that was definitely just a PR stunt. That's all. So both NextID and Zilliqa see tremendous potential in the blockchain-powered digital identity sector. There's a few different reasons. Social distancing and everything as a result of good old coronavirus have made it all the more evident that models of work and education will significantly change. If you know any teachers in your life, you know it is crazy. I know a college professor and 2 middle school teachers, and all 3 of them are doing drastically different things as a result of this. And then also the global blockchain identity management market was valued at approximately $107 million in 2018 and is expected to hit about $11.5 billion by 2026. So there are a lot of people who think that this wave of verifying your identity on the blockchain is going to be the next big thing. I know Cardano's working on it. Zilliqa's obviously working on it. I want to say VeChain's doing some stuff with it. So it's definitely going to be something that a lot of cryptos are going to start exploring and enabling. It just makes sense. In the United States, we use the Social Security card, which has become basically your NASH federal ID number, which is not what that system was originally intended to be. It's become this super secret number that you need to keep, really well protected, but at the same time, any place you work, bank, or get yourself insured through is going to require you to give it up. So having something like this that's blockchain enabled, that you can show what the business needs or what the insurance company needs, and you can keep that private and safe on the blockchain, is going to be a huge thing. So I really like that a lot of places are exploring this, and good on Zilliqa. So hey, let's hop on over then, take a look at Aave. Next article up, just hit $300 million worth of flash loans. Dear Lord. Introduced a slew of new features this year. In fact, we've talked previously, they're going to be launching their Aave version 2 at some point before the end of this year, maybe early next year. I'm trying to remember and I can't. But they're testing out decentralized governance and third-party backed loans. These flash loans that we're going to talk about in this article are increasingly being used in novel ways, thanks to services making it easier to combine DeFi components with no coding required. And that is gonna be the big thing. The last thing we need is for random people trying to code. But yeah, no, looks like Make or Die is one of the biggest ones in there. You know, these flash loans on Aave, there's a huge appetite for these products that they're putting out. So the loans are only issued, these flash loans, if the borrower can repay the amount back within one block. Otherwise it fails. It's used by traders in like arbitrage transactions, so they profit by purchasing and then immediately selling the asset to a different buyer at a higher price. So essentially they become an automated middleman. Arbitrage traders are what keep prices on automated market makers like Uniswap and Balancer in line with market prices. So if they see a deviation, they pounce on it, make their money, and bring the market back into balance. The biggest consumer of these flash loans is DeFi Saver, which allows users to change borrowed collateral using flash loans instead of paying back and taking out new loans separately. It's kind of interesting. So they've been going back and forth with this for quite a while, and Aave is definitely been rapidly developing all year long. They've released, a testnet code in preparation for the rollout of their decentralized governance. They're calling it Aavenomics. They're looking at credit delegation capabilities, so users can take out loans using collateral by like third-party liquidity providers, and all these different things. It's quite interesting. It's one of the largest DeFi projects out there in the space, and these flash loans are pretty unique to them. As of right now, I'm sure many imitators are working on it, but it's definitely something that it's going to make Aave huge. I mean, Aave is already huge, but the amount of work they're putting into their product and their community is only going to pay them dividends, in my opinion. So, taking a look now at Chainlink for article number 3, they just got a pretty big deal with Synthetix, one of the DeFi competitors to Aave. So Synthetix will use Chainlink decentralized oracles to power all of their price feeds on the Synthetix exchange. It's moving away from centralized oracles as it heads towards fully decentralized governance. So Chainlink is going to be the provider for Synthetix, which is pretty cool. They announced it today. Price oracles for all assets, including price feeds for all synthetic assets on the exchange, will be moving to Chainlink. For those of you who don't know, Synthetix generates these synthetic assets as tradable tokens on Ethereum with prices for different quote-unquote synths pegged to real-world assets, from crypto assets such as Bitcoin or Tron's tokens to currencies like the British pound or euro. They're also talking about, tying it to assets like oil, food, commodities, and other currencies. So it's pretty interesting, in my opinion, all the work they're going to be doing on this. They announced in June more details for plans to eventually cede power to the holders of the SNX protocol token, but they haven't set a date for full decentralization of Synthetix governance. But the switch to full and total Chainlink integration marks a major milestone for the Synthetix protocol, which until today relied heavily on oracles built and maintained by the internal development team. It also is a huge milestone for Chainlink itself. It's kind of a we win, you win situation. Synthetix gets to, show off how decentralized they're becoming, moving away from what's being done and maintained by their internal development team so they can start pushing things out to the community faster, and Chainlink gets another notch in their belt. It's a win. So we do got to mention, other projects like Yearn Finance and Yam Finance, which utterly collapsed because it did not have a responsible adult, have decentralized all governance from very early stages and often perform little or no testing before launching code updates, which in the case of Yam Finance, utterly destroyed it. Yearn's doing okay for now. In fact, they're doing freaking phenomenal. The Synthetix statement outlined the testing process applied to Chainlink oracles over the past several months, ensuring the supply of pricing data for different assets can scale with the demand as new synths are added to the platform. So it looks like they've been working on this for a while, and they're finally just letting us know. So good for them. Pretty cool if you ask me. I'm super excited for what this means for both Chainlink and Synthetix. Okay, let's hop on over to article number 4. Talk about VeChain a little bit. So in an interview with Forbes, Anna Getta, the head of sustainability for the H&M Group, which is a fashion group for all you guys out there, it set out the vision for the H&M Group and revealed more details about the role VeChain will play in creating quote-unquote post-pandemic fashion. So according to her, H&M Group faced a global problem when 80% of its stores closed due to the coronavirus. This led to a 50% reduction in sales, and they faced complex problems based around the health of their employees, the company profits, their supply chain. So Getta emphasized in the world after the pandemic, it's going to be quite different. I do agree with that. Things have definitely changed in a way that there's no going back from. The figures referred to above show that all industry players were impacted. In that sense, the digital phase of the industry has been and will continue to accelerate. So they're moving more and more things online. H&M's vision is a fashion industry with sustainable products that are accessible for many. Well, not accessible for all, but many. Getting there. In this sense, the company will work with VeChain to increase transparency. So they're going to use VeChain to provide users with access to information that tells them when, where, and how a product was made. Not too dissimilar to what VeChain is already doing. They did it with Nike and some shoes. They're partnered with Sam's Club and Walmart in China to track food from start to finish, as well as certain coronavirus testing implementations in Cyprus, I believe. So it's just another notch in VeChain's belt. What a world. And so the project that H&M and VeChain launched in early 2020, they call it My Story, trademark. Users are able to verify the authenticity of their sweaters and verify that they're made of sustainable materials. A lot of companies are moving this way because millennials, like myself, now I want to point this out, millennials are in their 30s right now. People in their 20s are Gen Z. They're in this boat as well. Millennials get talked about a lot because we're kind of in our quote-unquote prime. Though that is quickly fading, don't worry. But millennials get talked about a lot because they're very interested in sustainable products and having a way to be like, you can see for yourself on this immutable blockchain that it was made sustainably, and you can trace it back to the field it was grown in if you want. Burr, burr, burr. So, cool little thing for H&M. They're moving towards more sustainable products. A lot of companies are doing that. One, it's good press to talk about how green and sustainable you are. And two, a lot of these options for sustainability and green energy production are actually cheaper than traditional methods of energy requirements. You also don't have to rely on the grid if you're doing things completely sustainably and green. You can have a crap ton of solar panels and all that other fun stuff. So good for H&M, good for VeChain, good for everybody. I think that's the theme today. Not that that's a problem. So, Binance. Yeah, Binance. They're doubling down on DeFi. So they're launching a smart chain. So Binance Chain has announced the mainnet launch of Binance Smart Chain, a parallel network designed to support decentralized finance applications. Makes it possible for developers around the world to build DeFi services and many more dApps within the Binance Chain ecosystem. So simply an extension of the existing product. It runs so Binance Smart Chain runs alongside the Binance Chain blockchain. Lots of long Binance words. The key difference is that it has smart contracts like Ethereum that allows users to run apps on its blockchain. So there we go. One of the platform's key features will be the ability for users to stake Binance Coin as the native token of both these chains on the blockchain. So they'll be able to earn BNB rewards for helping to maintain the network. It's also going to be compatible with the Ethereum virtual machine, so it will support applications that currently work on Ethereum and feature cross-chain infrastructures. So Binance is again making the moves they need to make to keep their market dominance and continue to grow. This Binance Smart Chain, everyone is investing heavily into DeFi. It's kind of crazy to me the parallels between 2017 and now. ICO craze was starting to really dig in, and I feel like DeFi is really starting to dig in right now. So I'm very interested to see where this goes. Pretty happy with that. I mean, a lot of crypto projects are working with the Binance Chain community already for the Binance Smart Chain. Aave's working with them, Swipe, 1inch, Breeder Dodo, and T-Force. Oh god, I love that Twitter handle, Breeder Dodo. I will have to check that out off video, so that way I can see if it's a legit thing or not. But hey, there we go. We're already almost halfway done. Where does the time go? But hey, let's hop on over here in just a second and talk about the next article. All right, so jumping right into things, the U.S. Federal Reserve is a little thing I just wanted to mention because it just shows again how cryptocurrencies with their more deflationary nature are going to be looking pretty good here soon. So as of now, the Fed, or the United States Federal Reserve, owns a total of 22,913 different securities according to Bloomberg News. The Twitter account for Zero Hedge Financial Blog on August 30th added, "It is the world's biggest investor." This is in response to the rise of good old Corona. When they closed, the government closed businesses, urged citizens to stay home in an effort to derail the virus's spread. This caused pretty negative economic consequences, as it did throughout most of the world, leading to subsequent corrective attempts by the government that included massive money printing. The Fed also began acquiring corporate bonds as another corrective measure. Essentially, the Fed has loaned businesses money in exchange for these bonds. In June, the authority revealed its corporate bond purchasing actions in an effort to help prop up companies, according to a report from the marketplace. It's one of those things, no one likes giving big businesses money, but they're being like, well, if those businesses collapse, who will pay all the workers to come back? And since the United States does not have a single-payer healthcare system, most, if not all, businesses provide healthcare in some form or another to their workers. So if these businesses were to go bankrupt and those people were to completely lose their jobs, it would also trigger another health crisis, because suddenly all those millions upon millions of people would no longer have jobs or, in many cases, health insurance. So it's not an ideal scenario, but the Fed is doing the best that they can. But in light of this, a number of different people, including, the Winklevoss twins and all them, keep talking about how bullish this is for cryptocurrency because of the aforementioned deflationary assets. And I gotta agree with them. There's a lot of instability going on around the world right now. Some countries are hurting way more than others. Be honest, all things considered, the United States is not doing the best, but it's not doing the worst. Heart goes out to all those people in Lebanon and Venezuela and, oh man, all those countries around the world that are in complete economic meltdowns due to various socioeconomic problems they had before this that coronavirus has only exacerbated. But yeah, womp womp. But not to be outdone by the Fed, we got to talk about the IRS. Oh yeah, in a recent memorandum from the United States' tax authority, the Internal Revenue Service, or the IRS, attempted to clarify taxation rules around receiving crypto assets as payment. Someone asked, is convertible virtual currency received by an individual for performing a microtask through crowdsourcing or similar platform taxable income? Short answer is yes. So crowdsourcing, or calling on a number of participants to work on a project or task, is a common business model in the blockchain space. This memorandum described microtasks as smaller bits of work dished out to multiple workers as part of a larger task, but regardless, the memorandum pushed the one main point, which we all knew it would. Payment in cryptocurrency, however large or small, is taxable income. The IRS is, of course, going to tax every penny of crypto that it can, because it's a tax agency. That's its job. Unless, say, the government steps in and updates the rules and laws about what they can and cannot tax, they're just gonna kind of do their thing. And as we all know, this Congress, whether you're a Republican or Democrat or an independent, we can all agree Congress ain't doing too much. So, the IRS has increasingly tightened its overwatch on crypto in recent years. One of the latest developments sees 2020 U.S. tax forms asking citizens to disclose if they have interacted with digital assets at all over the course of the most recent tax year. I do remember seeing that question, and I hit yes. I filed my crypto taxes considering I mostly buy things and I don't really sell things. I didn't have much taxable income to report because I'm not selling things. I'm just buying them. I buy USDC or Tether and then convert that into the crypto of my choice. So while I do have to file that I did that, because that is a transaction, because stablecoins do not appreciate in value, I am only taxed on the appreciation of the asset, which is 0, so I'm not taxed. So, but you do have to do it. You do need to file your taxes. Don't let anyone tell you you don't need to. The last thing you want is 5, 10, 15 years down the line getting hit with something. I doubt it'll be that long, but you know what I mean. Just pay your taxes up front. Mistakes happen. But there's a difference between a $5,000 mistake that happens once and a $30,000 mistake that happens 8 years in a row. They're going to come after you in very different ways. So, that's your little warning for all us U.S. citizens. Keep an eye on the IRS because everyone's still trying to figure out exactly how they're going to tax these things. And then hopping on over to Coinbase, they're going to be doing something similar to Binance Launchpad. They're developing a token launch platform to allow startups to launch their own tokens. Brad Armstrong, founder and CEO of Coinbase, said they're probably going to call it Coinbase Launch or something like that. They haven't completely decided on the name. It's a way for anybody who wants to do a crypto startup to come in and say, all right, I want to issue a token. Maybe I want to raise money. Maybe I just want to use it to build my community. Essentially, Coinbase would build the platform to launch tokens, but they're not going to be hands-off about it. They want to help with the step-by-step process of functionally executing on those plans. I'm sure that also means they will get a nice chunk of whatever cryptocurrencies they create. It makes sense if the cryptocurrency succeeds. Coinbase gets to improve their bottom line, and the token gets to succeed, and it's more likely to succeed because it has a big name like Coinbase backing it and helping its development along. However, he didn't comment on when we might see it go live, or if they're looking for any people to submit applications, or if they have any candidates or anything like that. They're just saying, yeah, we're looking at doing it, and it'll probably happen at some point. But exactly when remains to be seen. But hey, we're getting close to the end here, but I did want to touch on this. Decentralized exchanges, or DEX, volume rose 160% in August to 11.5 billion. So yeah, aggregate trading volume on these DEXs hit that number in August, up from 4.5 billion in July. So it over doubled, probably backed by the intense enthusiasm for good old DeFi applications. Leading decentralized exchange platform Uniswap hit a 283% volume increase in August, hitting 6.7 billion after topping its July record less than 2 weeks into the month. Dear Lord. Along with aggressive volume growth, Uniswap reported an almost 100% increase in total trading pairs listed on the platform, totaling 6,867 as of Monday. The design of the platform allows any users to create and list a token, so it's pretty easy to do, and it's exploding. Like, things are going insane. I'm very excited to see how things continue. But yeah, just more and more insane numbers being posted. And then to round things off, good old Pornhub, they're now accepting Bitcoin and Litecoin as payment for its premium services. They started accepting Verge back in 2018. I remember that, being like, okay, whatever. They later added several other cryptocurrencies, but this is their first foray into the big boys. It was founded, this website is a year older than Bitcoin. It was founded in 2007 in Montreal, Canada. In fact, a lot of the original crypto people, including Satoshi Nakamoto, thought that this was going to happen way sooner. Satoshi Nakamoto himself voiced this opinion back in 2010. Bitcoin would be convenient for people who don't have a credit card and don't want to use the cards they have, either because they don't want the spouse to see it on the bill or don't trust giving the number to those guys, or are afraid of recurring billing. So, yeah, good for them, I guess. I don't know. It's just another example of Bitcoin being integrated around the world. Let's take a look at where things stand in the top 10. Now that we're done with the articles, Bitcoin is kicking around at just around 12K. Ethereum's at $482. Tether's up at number 3 again. XRP's up 5% though, 29.5 cents. I got a feeling the XRP bulls are gunning to take that number 3 spot back. Chainlink's pretty flat, but holding steady at $16. Bitcoin Cash is up 4%. Litecoin's up 4.5%. Bitcoin SV's up almost 5%. Binance Coin's up 7.8%, probably due to that aforementioned Binance Smart Chain announcement. And Crypto.com coins up 2%. And then kicking down there at number 11, oh man, Cardano's up 2, EOS is up 8, Tezos is up 6, Tron is up 20.36, probably still due to what we talked about in the last video, his integration of Band into JustSwap and the Sun Market DeFi platform. What interesting times we all lead. That'll do it for today. Thanks to all those who have subscribed, and if you haven't subscribed and you've made it to the end of this video, well, you might as well, because, dang, I do salute you for doing so. I really do appreciate it. And as always, take a look down in the description. Check out links. That way you can read the articles yourselves. I do summarize them, but there's a lot that I don't have time to get into, so please check them out for yourself. Do your own research. Yeah. So with that being said, my name is John, and I appreciate you listening.